There we go. Enough of the song. Okay. Right. I don't know what it is. Like, I specifically go in and I turn the audio off on YouTube, bring up the streaming page, and it wants to play an ad. Yeah, okay. And then the volume's on. This is YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Here we are again. We're going to talk about the infamous Ganja wars here in Thailand today. We've been talking about it all week, of course, because there's so much misinformation out there. But we'll go through the articles. We've got Let's Explore Bangkok. G'day, Nick. How you doing? He's actually sitting in the bleachers. It's 3 o'clock or something in the morning in England, so he doesn't want to annoy his better half or worst half or exactly the same half. We can understand that, but it's all good. I'm sure it's his better half. And of course we've got and we got a lot of Dave's here. G'day Dave, how you doing? Good to see you. Todd Austin's there he is. Todd Austin is here. We're recovering from another night out at Susie's last night.
Has joined us as well. Morning, Ralph.
Ralph's here. Good. Yeah. Another crazy night last night.
That was the fortnightly boys' night out. So.
Yep. The official nights out. The unofficial ones we don't talk about.
That's how hungover Warren is. He's all blurred now.
I'm all blurred now. I just bring the camera back in. Bring the camera back in. Oh, you stupid camera. There it is.
Morning, Jack.
Yeah, he's another one of the ne'er-do-wells that hang out with us. Did you recover? Jack, you doing all right? So we had another good night out. My eyes are not really recovering properly, but that's because I've had a house full of concrete dust going through everywhere. It's in every hole, honestly, and holes I didn't even know I had in my head. But such is life. Lots of changes coming 1st of July. Yes, we've got a list of things to talk about today. We're just waiting for everybody to get in and get settled. Get your popcorn out and get your spliff ready and see how we go. Flights are getting very expensive. Yes, we were just Nick was just we were talking about that. Sorry, we can't watch what he's talking about in the Introduce Yourself channel because it's behind another thing there. But now he's just going to type in the chat box. That's all good. He'll chat with everybody here. So moving right along. Where do we start? Tommy J from Texas. We don't know if we're going to see Kimbo today. He's got his daughter today, so family comes first. And there's the legendary Mayor Groves, up and at him, fully recovered as you expect to be fully recovered. We saw him on Thursday, and he was in good spirits. And poor B, she's got some back pain from sleeping on the couch in the hospital room there. Poor lass. But they're back in their nice comfy beds now. That's the main thing. Booked our flights before the inquiry. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. They just watch the air price. The tickets prices are going to go through the roof because of this fuel crisis we've got, and also highlights the fact that the incestuous nature of different countries doing different things. They don't realise how much of a sort of a tight web the whole thing works. It only takes one thing to tip the balance of scales, and then the whole world just starts to implode, doesn't it? But it'll take a while for things to think. And of course, we've got from what Nick was telling us, there's new strains or new variants of the Omicron floating around in England now, and everybody's coming down sick again. I don't know how sick they are, or whether it's just another one of these things. Oh, we need to scare the public again. It's been a year since we scared the public. We might have to scare the public again because the public is very scareable. Is that how it works? I don't know. It's all right. We'll keep you sane. We don't scare you. I will keep my clothes on. But yeah, so well, we might as well, yeah, like you've got to be watching the news, and I have been watching the news this week. As we all know, ganja or cannabis, or that slang word marijuana, which means nothing to do with any botanical. It was a name bestowed upon the natural herb to demify it, because it makes it sound Mexican, and you know what the Americans are like about feeling about Mexican things. It happens to grow very well in Mexico and probably Florida too. It's that belt, you know, that tropical belt that just flourishes in those areas. But yeah, so gone are the days of you going down to the docks, you know, in the late 30s and smoking rope, because the rope was actually, you know, made out of hemp. And the kids would go down the docks and smoke rope. This is before my time, of course. Then of course they changed the hemp rope to a synthetic or something. No longer had the same effect. I'm pretty sure a few kids got sick from it. But yeah, moving right along. Fear is now governments. That's exactly right, Bruce. That governments operate on fear. Because like the general population are no longer schooled, and yeah, it's the only way to motivate people. Scare them. Yeah, we won't be scaring you here. I'll keep my clothes on. Was that just anyway? They put fish oil they put fish oil in the rope as well. Yeah. Well, I don't know, but if they put it in, that's just because the rope goes into water. Maybe that's how the fish oil gets there. Aaron F, g'day, Bruce Grant, and who else are we just? Mr. Jonesy, 74, living the dream. We're all living the dream over here. Yeah. So moving right along on the discussion. Yeah, like if you don't know the background of cannabis and ganja. It was legal here in Thailand up until, I think, what was the administration in 72 in America? Was it Nixon? Was it the Nixon era? There was a global rollout of anti-establishment rulings around cannabis use, and unless, of course, your country fell into line and followed the American way, you were actually sort of precluded from certain access to certain drugs from the pharmaceutical industries in America. And of course, back in those days, the only place that those drugs were available was America, and so you was quite stuffed. You had to toe the line, or you couldn't get, you know, I don't know what drugs they are. I have to go back and do the research. I did this research a few years ago. Something like for instance, you know, you couldn't get your Tylenol because, you know, it's a ubiquitous drug across the planet, but it's licensed to a pharmaceutical in America, and they basically said, you don't outlaw the drugs, you can no longer get your Tylenol. That's the sort of thing that happened. So everybody fell into line. Australia, the whole Asia, Europe, they all just fell into line, you know, bend down and took it up the rear behind. Anyway, but of course now, you know, America over the last few years has been decriminalising it, and we've got, you know, a dozen states in America now that it's legal, and you know, the whole Nixon propaganda machine has collapsed, and you know, and Thailand sort of says we better get on the ball with this one and start you know, doing something about it. Of course, the other part of the history is the fact that, you know, for as long as man has been on this earth, the herb itself has been used medicinally and through culinary sort of, you know, uses. It's also interesting the fact that the constituents, our body reacts a certain way to it, which is actually proven now to be quite beneficial. The reason why the planet has got so sick in the last 50 years is they took a particular, you know, part of the culinary out of the equation, and then the world starts getting sick because it's something our genome actually thrives with. Yes, there's a lot of people have gone through the process and they've abused certain aspects of it. No, you can't help that. But bottom line is, nobody's ever died from smoking cannabis. That's what I'm getting at. I know I'm beating around the bush. I'm just making sure we've got the whole hour full. But so nobody has ever died from smoking cannabis, eating cannabis, doing anything to do with cannabis, except, of course, Thailand. So let's move right along to the Thailand genre. I have to just share my. I've got to share my screen to screen sharing, so that Todd can read along with it as well. There we go. Go live there, and I've got to also then turn off that one so we don't get the duplicate. Okay, so before we go, Bitcoin. All those people invested in Bitcoin, good on you, mate. No problem. 20.4. Moving right along. Okay, so here we go. So this is June 14th, which was Monday, was it? Yeah, on Tuesday. Tuesday. That one came through on Tuesday. 4 admitted to hospital. 1 dies after using cannabis following decriminalisation. Oh my God! First person in history, right, to die smoking cannabis. We're gonna have to outlaw it again and take it off the market, get rid of it. The whole world's going to collapse because somebody died. Oh my God! 4 people admitted. The government received a report today, Tuesday. Back up, blah blah blah. 17-year-old and 25-year-old been admitted for a city for a run hospital for treatment of heart palpitations. After consuming, 16-year-old. Was admitted to intensive care. Additionally, a 51-year-old man suffered of chest pains after using cannabis and later died of a heart failure. An autopsy report shows he had a heart failure due to his underlying conditions. They've actually edited this article. Right, that's not what it said 4 days ago. They've actually had to do a retraction on that because back then, the first the shit. Demify. I'm trying to think of the word. And we can't have this, this natural plant out in the public. So cases have prompted BMA to consider measures to protect students, which is a good idea. It's like alcohol, right? That needs to be sort of used with moderation, and young kids and idiots will abuse it. That's what we have. This is the nature of our stupid society we live in now. Both myself and Todd are full in agreement. What we need to do is we need to remove all warning labels and let the problem sort itself out. And hopefully we might get back to a sort of a culture of people intelligent and smart and growing and becoming civilized human beings again. But not
mitigate against stupidity.
So you can't. That's it. Yeah, and we need more chlorine in the gene pool.
Yes, more chlorine in that gene pool.
Yeah,
solve a lot of the world's issues.
That's it. Exactly right. Anyway, so as we thought we'd go through some of this. We're just watching Stephen Monash is in the house. G'day, Stephen Monash. Who are Paul A? G'day. Shannon's in the house as well. Robert Mack was there too. Okay, Robert Mack got a phone call. Okay, so I can't.
Mark's joined us as well. You're still in Australia, Mark, or when are you coming back?
That's a good one. When are you coming back, Mark?
Yeah.
Make sure you come back for a meet-up so we can say hello. The Darwin, what happened to the Darwin Awards? You can note. Look, let's see. The Darwin Awards. What's happened to the?
All right, we're doing a wombat moment, but that's all right. The Darwin Awards were quite funny. Didn't they used to get updated monthly or something?
It used to be a monthly thing back in the 80s. The Darwin Awards, but it's now fallen into disrepute. Anything happening? So it doesn't really updated. The whole planet is so queer now, right? We used to have great, back in 2009, we had all these, but it's fallen into disuse. Wine for the road, surreal, and again, nothing 21, nothing 22. They couldn't make it any more stupid than what we've got to deal with now. The whole world has become a Darwin Award. But yeah. if you don't know what the Darwin Awards, it was the awards are a tongue-in-cheek honour for that originated in the Usenet news groups around 1985. Recognised individuals who supposedly contributed to human evolution by selectively selecting themselves out of the gene pool by dying or becoming sterilised via their own actions. That's how it started. Anyway, people sticking JATO rockets on the back of their utes and trying to jump the Grand Canyon. That sort of Darwin Awards. Yes, that's how it's sort of the crazy stuff we used to see. But anyway, it's got so bad now. The world is just crazy. The Darwin Awards gave up giving out rewards because the winners never showed up to accept. Oh, was that what it was? Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, I'll pay that one. So this whole thing, the article is that a lot of information being going out. What can you do here in Thailand? This one here is an infographic that came out, I think, via the Bangkok Post. Dope do's and don'ts. According to the Royal Thai Police, starting from today, I think this was Wednesday I saw this article, starting today, the use of cannabis and cannabis extracted products are now allowed as follows. You are allowed to grow and own and grow your own plants without limitation. That is now legal. You are allowed to distribute cannabis plants. That is now legal. And you are allowed to smoke cannabis plants. And of course you can also put it in your edibles and everything else, and you can drink the teas, and get the whole idea. It is fully decriminalised, right? What is still Schedule 1, you cannot own and distribute cannabis extracts containing more than 0.2% tetrahydrocannabinol without permission or a medical prescription, or import cannabis oils from outside the kingdom illegally. Illegal. Oh, okay, so just saying it's illegal. Cannabis oils from outside the kingdom. So it's basically that they've said this overall banner, the extracts. They're talking about the oils that can be, that they. If you know how to, I'm not going to tell you how it's all done. It's tetrahydrocannabinol is oil soluble, and there's ways of actually sort of putting the herb into a vat of usually ethanol alcohol, which will allow the oils to be extracted fairly uniformly, and then of course they create this nice black sludgy stuff, which is called cannabis oil. If that oil contains more than 0.2% tetrahydrocannabinol, it is now considered Schedule 1, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't say anything about the crystals that are actually sort of quite freely available and fall off the actual flowering plants at all. That's still perfectly all right, and you can actually go now, I think, who was it we were talking to? We were talking to Tim the other day. He was down in Hua Hin, and he was freely able to buy grams of this Satvia, or was it? I think it was Satvia. Just the two basic strains, Satvia, and what's the other one? I'm having a mental break again. I smoked too much. I haven't smoked anything. Come on. There's two basic strains. There's one that makes you sleepy and relaxed. And there's another one that sort of gives you sort of euphoria feelings, and makes you very chatty, and you want to go out and sort of have sex with people and things like that. There's two types and a lot of crossbreeding. Anyway, cut a long story short, he was able to sort of freely buy. I think they were 500 baht per gram. Now, 500, that's $20. That's effectively $20 Australian a gram. Australia, I'm pretty sure when I left Australia, the price wasn't much more in Australia than that. Probably double the price now because of inflation, but that was illegal. Now it's a legal drug. I mean, as I said to Tim, I think we're looking at Farang prices there. We also know another Dave. He's been down south, and he's been sort of. He's actually got a place or a rental on one of the islands down there, and even before the legalisation went through, he's been having ready access, to the flowering versions of the plants, different cultivars and strains. But yeah, it's now basically it's open, and of course this is going to bring every goddamn idiot back into the fold who, for one, what we sort of said, should never smoke, right? Because there are some people just do not do well under the influence. They're usually the ones that sort of get pissed drunk as well and don't have a good time with that. There's some people just know how to abuse their body to a point, the fact that it annoys everybody else. There should be sort of warning labels, but again, warning labels on cannabis, it's not going to happen. Remove the warning labels, let them jump off cliffs. It's the only way you actually die from cannabis is being stupid. What's the other one? Smoke cannabis in public areas, leading to public disturbance. So this is the other outlawing that they've done, which is the smoking of the cannabis products in public. So you can't spliff up in the parks, you can't spliff up in the shopping centres. Even you can't even spliff up on the streets because it's a public thoroughfare. And I think this is a good move. Let's just not. It might be legal, but just let it go its natural way. It's a recreational usage thing that the population will sort of soon become accustomed to. It's going to annoy some of the sectors of the politicians, because that's, it's a war going on because you've got left and right hand sort of views on this thing here with government. So this came out yesterday. It's the 18th today, isn't it? Yeah. So another article from yesterday morning. Cannabis has been listed as a controlled herb under the Traditional Medicines Wisdom Protection Promotion Act to prevent its abuse, especially among youngsters. So this has now been added to the Gazette. I don't know if it's been. It's like it's an interim. It's an interim measure, and I think it's all smart. Basically, they're sort of saying the Bangkok governor. Of course, he's the Bangkok governor. It doesn't really control any of the other places around. He only controls Bangkok. So this is Bangkok province, and every province is going to have different aspects of it, and it's just going to get really quite confusing. A 9-point directive with immediate effect to keep schools under the supervision of Bangkok free from cannabis and hemp. Right. So BMA schools must be cannabis-free zones. Food, drink, and snacks with cannabis or hemp as ingredients are not allowed. The advertisements of food and drinks and snacks containing cannabis or hemp are not allowed. School executive, teachers, and education personnel, blah blah blah, must keep a close watch. The BMI schools run should promote the understanding among students about cannabis, and a bit of education would be useful. I don't know if that's going to help, but I can't teach them shit anyway. Schools should organise activities to warn students about the dangers of cannabis. Well, there is no danger apart from don't operate heavy machinery. It's like paracetamol. Use with caution. But yeah. You can't mitigate the stupidity. Schools should raise awareness about physical and mental effects of cannabis, and there's been some crazy stories going on that one. We'll get to that hopefully. Schools should work with parents, local communities, and vendors around schools, making sure that they do not provide food and blah blah blah. And school executives must work with the BMA department, the medical departments. And distinct officers to monitor problems related to cannabis use. So yeah, business as usual, but let's keep it out of the schools and out away from young people, which is the bottom line. They're sort of listing the tended cannabis on individuals by anybody under the age of 20. Such as education outlets, department stores, state-owned entities, and among others. The minister said yesterday signed an order to control the use of cannabis after the plant was decriminalised, yes, and sparked concerns among doctors who, yeah, of course the doctors are going to complain because what? They're going to find that there's going to be so many medical uses that actually sort of make their job pretty much pointless. So they'll go up in arms because they don't want to lose business to the herb society, which is how, that's how our society, they've managed to exist for 10,000 years of agriculture, through the use of herbs and plants, the nature's God-given, products, But yeah. Anyway, moving right along. However, it allows for those who are at least 20 years old to use and distribute and grow plants. No idea how they're going to keep this all under control. Also doctors to prescribe cannabis and use extra formulations, blah blah blah. Yeah, again, this. What are we controlling in the amount of THC by weight, which shouldn't exceed 0.2 per gram, or it's considered a narcotic? It's not an easy thing to actually measure these things, which is a big grey area, so be careful when you're carrying this stuff, because they could turn around and say, I'm sorry, there's 0.03% THC in that nice little juicy head. And, what are you going to do? You're going to take it, get it weighed up or something? I don't know. They can see that being abused. We've already sort of heard, Dave was telling us some stuff yesterday, there was this listings for these like cafes that sell the stuff, and the police are now already in the process of enforcing their own versions of the law. That usually involves a little bit of a under the table gratuity. If you don't pay the gratuity, then they're basically sort of shutting you down. And it's going to be crazy for the next few months. Anyway, the listing under the Act will be enforced until a law on cannabis and hemp is announced. Bill passed the first reading. During this part of the regulation, public health will guidelines and law enforcement. Opponents of cannabis legislation have voiced it. It's always going to be opponents. It's always somebody who's never smoked the stuff is going to have an issue with it because it's going to fade their curtains or something. I don't know.
The cows won't give milk and it will fade the curtains.
Oh, that's right. Cows won't give milk and fade the... that's daylight saving. What are we talking about? Oh, no, probably works for cannabis as well. These groups are calling for more aggressive measures to curb the access to cannabis. Oh, just pull your head in, really. But yeah, we have a very big conservative edge in Thailand here. Staunch conservatism, is that a word? Across certain age sectors of the community. Unfortunately, the age sectors of the community, the ones that actually have money to make changes, and of course, they do tend to have a bit of a pull with governments and everything else. So it's a bit of a strange one. Anyway, moving right along. So this one actually came out yesterday as well. This was a bit later in the day. Opinions. Stop spreading misinformation about. Why do they use that word? I don't know. I find that word just ill-informed, uneducated. But anyway, unfortunately, it's a word that it's vernacular. Educate the public. This is what we need. We need some better education. Misinformation concerning Thailand's new marijuana laws spiraled out rampantly last week, especially from government agencies spiraling out of the government. Yeah, this thing here. So the whole person dying, right? About a day later, on Wednesday, he walked back on the ill-formed claim, admitting the officials should now see the autopsy report in detail. Look, just get off the news circuit and just do your freaking due diligence before you say anything. Wednesday evening, the autopsy report was released. It showed that the 51-year-old had an underlying disease that resulted in the death from heart failure. The doctor even noted that it cannot be determined whether marijuana he smoked an hour before hospitalisation had anything to do with the cause of his death. On top of that, there was no trace of THC, the chemical compound in cannabis that makes you high, in his system. So he could have had an allergic reaction to it, with his existing underlying, some people just don't take green plants very well. Anyway. And like much of Thailand, the initial report was completely baseless, yet it did not stop the Chad chart from telling authorities and the media about it. So this is the thing, they all want to grandstand because it's all about making face, saving face and losing face, and he said the bad thing, he said the bad thing, and of course we, with the infamous pointing, we did the pointing. That video we did with Todd January at the cannabis show. I'm getting some good views on that. Like 6 months later. Because we're pointing
at about time,
pointing at the legal weed. And it's interesting. How this has suddenly become an interesting video to watch.
Not that I'm an expert or anything. I mean, it's sort of not my area of expertise, but it's more about the cultural and societal acceptance of something that, as you've said, the misinformation has put a boo on it. I mean, what was it, back in the 1940s? It's taboo to have sex. You can't have sex unless you're married. Like, come on, wake up.
Yeah. There is one. I got a photo. Another wombat moment. Where is my wombat moment folder? Quickly see if I can find it. Pictures? Was it under pictures? I don't know. Was it under pictures? I know where to find it. I'm just going to take it. I'll go back to that page. Principio de Cordis. PRINC. IPINDISCORDIA.com. Principio Discordia. There it is, and we've got some downloads. Here we go. There we go. That's the only picture and information you need to know. Did you know God is a crazy woman? There she is carrying the apple. Our patron deity for this Discord channel and in our group is Eris, the goddess of chaos, discord and confusion, and international relationships and politics. She's now actually got 5 purviews instead of 3 because it's a law of 5s, right? But yeah, it's a crazy world we live in. It's the only one I can relate to. I'm sorry, just look at she is the most active divinity on this planet right now. Anyway, moving right along. Recreational use in marijuana started in the 70s, yet somehow Thailand found the first case. Yeah, I love this bit here. No trace of tobacco, much like the initial report, baseless. Okay, recreational use of marijuana in Europe started in the 70s, and yet somehow Thailand found the first case of a person who died from overdosing on marijuana only less than a week after the plant was decriminalised. Give me a break. I love the guy who's written this article. I couldn't have written any better. Even if you are totally uninvolved in drug culture, people are aware that no one has ever died from marijuana overdose. It simply never happened. But here comes the funny part. On Wednesday, the Governor's Public Relations had a good idea to try to educate the public about the side effects of marijuana use. Maybe the idea was nice, but they hilariously failed it in execution. Based on information provided to them by the Faculty of Agriculture, Innovation and Ranks at University, the department's explanation of the favourable effects and adverse effects of the cannabis and how long you could feel these effects were somewhat close to the truth. The infographic looks interesting, but their suggestion that people could get rid of the undesirable effects were funny, to say the least. First they recommended drinking water, but then added that people should eat lemon and chew black pepper to get rid of the effects. Okay, favourable effects: relaxation, decreased anxiety. I don't know, I've seen some pretty anxious people wandering through Hornsby frickin' shopping centre on dope to the eyeballs. Anxiety, yeah. Mind you, it was an illegal drug in Australia. Adverse effect: bloodshot eyes. No, my eyes is from dust. I haven't been smoking, okay? Dry mouth. That was from too much alcohol last night. And excessive sleepiness. Well, I'm quite awake right now, so it mustn't be cannabis. But yeah, there's adverse side effects. How long does it take to feel the effects of having cannabis? After dropping the cannabis oil under your tongue. I've never used this. It doesn't really work subcutaneous. I don't know, this is a bit of a misinformation. Subcutaneous? Nah, it never has been subcutaneous because it's an oil. That's just going straight in your stomach and it's being processed as a normal consumable. 10 minutes after smoking, right? Well, I don't know. You get a good piece of apparatus, and I'm pretty sure that you take a good take on take a hit on a bong. That'll come on in 30 seconds. But yeah, if you smoke it properly, that is. 30 minutes after eating. I think there's a bit of artistic license being written on that one. How to handle negative effects: drink lots of water. Yeah, I don't think water really does it. Do light physical activities, walking slowly. Not really. Eating lemon. The best thing to handle the effects is just lie down. Let it pass. Or eat chocolate. Chocolate, that just hits, that'll get your metabolism burning that shit out of you. But anyway,
One say munchies.
munchies, yes. Well, the best way to solve a bit of a good bout would be just get the what do you call it? What was the best thing we used to like? The kettle chips. Mate, when the kettle chips came out in Australia, mate, they were the best thing for the munchies. They really were, because it had the chili in it. The chili flavour. It just gets the heart racing. Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. There's absolutely no need to go to the extreme lengths of eating lemon by itself or chew on black pepper. Just drink water and eat food. If worse comes to worse, where the effects refuse to go away. Well, you took the stuff for the effects. I don't know why you wanted to go away anyway. You do not like it. Just try to go to sleep. It's very easy. Just close your eyes and just lie down somewhere. Just make sure it's not in the middle of the road, or behind the wheel of a car would be a good idea. As for the concerns over the lack of control over marijuana usage, it was good to see the BMA coming up with the order to make schools in Bangkok marijuana-free zones. Well, I think it's smart. Yeah, it should have been sort of said before the start. There's so many things not done prior to the release. Now they just have to backpedal a bit. The Health Ministry already announced rules to regulate marijuana uses that was published in August on Friday, such as people under the age of 20 and pregnant women will not be able to buy marijuana, and the ban on smoking marijuana in public. So, it has been gazetted. It's actually in. It takes 90 days for these things to roll through. Hopefully the hype will be settled down within 90 days and things will get back to normal. But this is Thailand after all. Responsible marijuana shops have also started to put out warnings on the plant side effects and impose their own rules not to ban children or pregnant women, blah, blah, blah. What government agencies should do to help is provide accurate information about marijuana and side effects. Yeah, you get stoned, okay? We call it dope because it dopes you up. It releases dopamine, which makes you feel good. And our body does that naturally if you are the right frame of mind. There's lots of things we can make you release dopamine. They've even proved the fact that posting things on Facebook and getting likes actually gives you small dopamine rushes. That's why people do it. Cannabis just does it the best. it is the perfect social enhancement drug. Don't give me started on MDMA. Anyway, my recommendation for related agencies is to stop, take a breather, refresh, talk to each other, and educate the public with accurate information. Or come and watch our YouTube channel. We'll give you the down low on this stuff. Hopefully Dave would be, unfortunately we were talking with Dave last night, and he was going to come on as well, but I think he hasn't got out of bed yet. So.
These young guys, they can't keep
up.
They
can't keep up with us. Anyway, so I've got a couple of articles. Got their boy treated and thing. Anyway, let's get back to. I haven't been watching. What have I missed on the chat channel there?
Just talking amongst each other.
As they do.
It's the normal Saturday morning chit chat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions? Sean. G'day, Sean. Cannabinoids. Herpes syndrome, CHS, term for cannabis overdose. Cold shower is also good, a way of stopping the greening out. Yes, my dad. I remember sort of back in the late 70s, early 80s, when we'd have a few people around our place and we'd have a Ganja night. Introduced some of our friends, the first timers, into it, and they were throwing up over the balcony. They just couldn't deal with it. Mind you, they had a lot. It's the way it is. It's like paracetamol. Some people can take paracetamol without the slightest worry, but other people, can have an adverse effect of paracetamol, right? We have this strange culture, the fact that there's this thing called normal people, and there's this normality curve, like this could be, I guess that's all like a bell curve, but I won't go into statistics. But they have this thing normal, right? They treat there's always going to be somebody on the left and right hand side of these spectrums that either really love it or really hate it, really sort of have found great benefits, and other people on the other side of the bell curve that are going to have complete reactionary processes. You cannot mitigate. So this is the way that the human genome works. It's a function of our ability. We just need people to be educated. That's all. And this seems to be the thing that we've been not doing for the last 50 years, and it's a sad situation. More chlorine in the gene pool. Anyway, I'm going to change the subject. We'll get back to this in a minute, but I wanted to get another subject. We've got 15 minutes or thereabouts. This one here is a bit more to home, to heart. And again, it's another one of those things that are still a bit weird, exactly what's going on here. But the Marriage Equality Bill passes first reading in historic step for Thailand. So a very good chance that we may even be able to get married. At some sort of level, but unfortunately there's a couple of things that really aren't there, which is, that's the big. Anyway, I'll get into this. Parliament approved the Marriage Equality Bill on Wednesday in its first reading with 218 for and 180 against. Votes were largely among party lines with PPRP leading in the opposition. Is that which one's the PPRP? I wish I really knew all these. Anyway. This long-awaited, long sought for and rare victory moment for the Thai LGBTQ. Get rid of the Q as the LGBT community. We do not want Q in there. I'm going to do a video about it. How did the Q get in there? Because queer, that could also encapsulate pedophilia. Right? We don't want Q in there. Anyway, LGBTQ community, the discussion around legalising same-sex marriage first took place about a decade ago, which is centred around the Civil Union Partnership Bill. The civil partnership, according to critics, does not equal to marriage equality. And this is the big push at the moment. They want equality, and unfortunately they're not getting what they really sort of pushed. Couples registered under this regime were given less legal benefits compared to hetero marriages. For example, the right to adopt and medical decision making in the place of spouses. These are two particular areas, that they would like to be considered the same. The road for marriage equality in Thailand is a bumpy one. The coalition-led parliament employed numerous tactics to delay the discussion of the bill on the parliament floor. Late last year, the Constitutional Court ruled unanimously that barring same-sex couples to marriage is not unconstitutional, despite the very constitutional clause guaranteeing equal treatment for all. So basically, they can't even read their own constitution to get. This is. The Parliament also approved a series of civil partnership bills introduced by different political parties. So everybody wants a slice of this cake. Bills do not generally sort of lead to gender equality, which is what they're trying to fight for. For example, civil partnership bill. For example, civil partnership bill proposed by the cabinet still fails to clearly grant the rights for civil union couples to adopt a child, and get citizenship in the case of one of the spouses is a foreign national, right? Among others. Right, and this is something that this is what I'm looking at. This is the angle that I would like to be pushing towards. And people say no, you can't become a citizen in Thailand. Well, you can. There are methodologies to become a citizen of Thailand. Right? But I'm not going to go and have the argument, people. It doesn't happen very rarely, but there is a process. It takes about 10 years. All up, but most people give up after 5. It may perhaps reveal the intention of the cabinet that it is reluctant to recognise the legitimate of same-sex couples. The approved bill will have to go through several other readings and must be approved by the Senate, whose members are notoriously conservative, before it can be signed into law. But it is a welcome development. So it's not law. It's in the process, right? If it makes it to Senate and gets through Senate, then it becomes a real thing. But we just can only keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, well, Kimbo's there.
He was here. He's gone.
Yeah. See you later, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Blah blah blah. Okay. He's been and gone. Okay. Now, Todd, I'm talked out. We've got 10 minutes left. What's this thing here? You can lead the discussion on this one.
Well, I can't see it, but that's all right. I've got it on my other computer. I don't want to turn away. But yeah, they had the CCSA meeting this week, and looks like things are moving forward. They've passed the fact that masks will be dropped on the 1st of July. There are slight caveats, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wazza, I'm doing this from memory, because in closed spaces like public transport, entertainment venues where you cannot social distance, I suppose medical facilities and enclosed government facilities, you will still have to wear a mask. But outdoor events where there's space, basically if you're walking along a soy area or whatever and you're able to walk clear, you can go maskless as of the 1st of July. That's how I'm reading it. And the Prime Minister announced it's all up to people being responsible, conscientious citizens and use their discretion. So it looks like some normality is coming back finally. They're also dropping the Thailand Pass.
Yep, I saw the article that's coming through here. It's being a pain. It doesn't want my ad blocker running. Fuck you.
That's right. The Thailand Pass website will still be active, but you no longer need the Thailand Pass to actually enter into the country. The insurance has been dropped, and they've also allowed opening hours or entertainment venues to 2 a.m. in some areas, 1 a.m. in others, and what was the other one? Closing times, 2 a.m. to 1 a.m. and all entertainment venues in the 77 provinces are now green zones. So there's no more orange and red. Everything is now green.
Yep.
And yeah, everything, temperature check, those beep machines as you enter every building are no longer required. This is coming in 1st of July.
1st of July,
I wait for the Gazette to come out, but it looks like this is going to happen. So, which is good news. It's all good news.
Good news, yep.
So that was the Cliff Notes version, and as you can see, the website's there. The Tiger has all the details, but yeah, the Thailand Pass website's going to be like a informational tracking website. So if you do need help or you do get sick or whatever, that's just going to be an information zone apparently.
And what about we were talking to somebody? Was it yesterday or was it Thursday at Susie's bar? We were helping him get through back into Australia. James, James McPherson, yeah.
The digital, what was it?
This is thing to get back into Australia. Oh my God!
I mean, I worked with bureaucracy for a long time, and had to write policy and bits and pieces, and it took me 40 minutes to help James get his digital pass organised. And I remember his age, but for someone, wonderful gentleman in his elderly years, but to expect someone of not being involved with computers for most of their life to get through what the website and everything was asking.
It was ludicrous, it really was.
And I learned his background by asking him all the questions to get his digital pass organised. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the information. I can see, yes, they want to make sure that you're vaccinated, and that's going to be a thing for a long time. But the poor guy was just, I'm flying out in 7 hours, and I don't know what to do. I mean, that's one of our things. We help people when we're at Susie's and everything like that, and we're able to do it. Both Warren and I have got sort of IT understanding, but this poor guy, he was ropeable. He thought that he thought he'd probably get to Australia and they'd tell him to get on a plane and get the hell out of there because he didn't do it. Anyway, we got him sorted out. We then emailed him all the stuff to his own email address, so he's got it in one place so he can find it easily. And he was happy as Larry. And he bought tied on himself a drink. I wasn't drunk, Mark. I was trying to get his information, and he's from the paper age, so he's got everything. He got everything required, but all printed out in folders, and he just couldn't get his head around actually converting that information.
Putting the stuff into the computer. And it was bizarre. You know, it was a bizarre. 50 questions. You know, amazing stuff. Anyway,
so good news on that front. I think good news.
And here's another one. This article showed up late yesterday afternoon. Boy 14 treated recovers. Boy 14 treated recovers after using cannabis. Nakhon Rakashima, 14-year-old. Well, you're 14-year-old. You should have been using the damn stuff. Going, where's the parental supervision going on? Who was admitted to hospital. And what gets me is Nakhon Rakashima. Like, this stuff here is freely available in the country everywhere you go. You know, so Sukato, no problem. It's not like it's ever been illegal. It's technically illegal, but it's always been available. Just suddenly announce it, and then you got a 14-year-old. Come on, where was he? He was crawling under a rock somewhere. After consuming cannabis and developing neurological symptoms, quickly recovered and was discharged after treatment. The paediatrician specialised in respiratory disease, blah, blah, blah. So I'm afraid the boy was treated on Thursday for symptoms of depression and fever. The boy's condition improved. He admitted that he had consumed cannabis. Lab test detected THC in the boy's urine. Fortunately, the symptoms were not severe. He's had a nice hash cookie or something of that nature. That stuff there can really do. If even consumables have a different effect to smoking the stuff. I'll tell you right now. And some people just they just should never go anywhere near the stuff. They should not, Is it regulation designing and controlled limiting the plants? There's the people 20, at least 20-year-olds. It was the right decision. Yes, let's have some sort of sensibility in it. Products which contain cannabis should clearly state that they were not for people under the age of 20. With the decriminalisation of cannabis on June 9, people now easy to access the product containing blah blah blah. Using cannabis and cannabis extracts could affect a child's nervous system. Both short and long term, yes, we know that. Use responsibly. It all comes under use responsibly. I'm looking forward to get it and sort of getting some at least, and hopefully alleviate my arthritis problems, because it's one of the best forms of arthritis treatment. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've got feelers out. We'll be getting Thai price. Don't worry. I'm not going to be paying this Farang price bullshit. All that posted and posted on Facebook the photo of boy being treated at hospital. He said cannabis was not recreational. Cannabis had both pros and cons. It must be used strictly controlled. He later announced that he had limited access to his post, and it drew heavy criticism from Facebook users. Yeah. Okay, so that's all the news we have for today. We'll go back into the full screen. Good. What have I missed now? We've got 4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, discussion on the Thai pass and the enforceability of not wearing a mask, because the last 2 days that we've been in Bangkok, a lot more people are being relaxed about wearing the mask. I have no issue for that. I actually, I'll get the trolls coming out. I actually don't mind wearing it, because sometimes in Bangkok the pollution is so bad, it actually helps me breathe.
Yeah.
But it's all common sense, but we've spoken about this before. Common sense is lacking in a lot of areas.
Especially when you walk up that 20 flights of stairs, and you're got to take the mask down and get a breath. We are old, Get your breath back, put the mask back on, it's all good. But yeah, common sense, it's seriously lacking in most of society these days.
It's good to see that it's actually being recognised now. I mean, yeah, in aspects it's great. I mean, if you can't if someone's coughing and spluttering next to you, it doesn't matter what it is. You normally, I remember as a kid, when someone had the cold or the flu, they coughed or spluttered. Subconsciously, I'd move away a metre. It wasn't to offend them. It's just, okay, that's what I was...
Didn't want to catch a fucking disease, yeah.
All that underlying education for common sense is not being passed along anymore. I just can't work it out, but hey.
Yep. Listen, I'm looking forward to getting sort of a supply going, Thai price, just a standard Satvia, stuff to help, just relax, alleviate the aches and pains. That's the normal aches and pains of being old. I might look happy and joyful and everything else, but I have pain. I got to deal with pain on a daily basis, especially from my toe. Thankfully I don't have to deal with cold, which always exacerbated the problem. One of the reasons why I'm over here.
My pain is dealing with Thailand taxi drivers, but we don't have enough time now.
Oh, but the guy we actually did get a taxi. Oh, he was an absolute champ. He was wonderful.
He was awesome.
He was a great guy.
Awesome.
Sometimes you get taxi drivers. Sometimes you get some taxi drivers, and they'll talk you. That's it. We had a ball just chatting with him on the way home. His command of English was pretty good. Our spattering of Thai. It was one of those interesting conversations. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. But of course, he was the 8th taxi that we actually flagged down. The other 7, well, we got photos of their licenses and so on and so forth. I'll be reporting them later. But yeah, just got to find the website to go and submit the evidence and have them brought under charges. And we're just going to
enforce it.
Yeah.
It is law that you have to use the meter in a taxi.
Yeah.
If they refuse to use the meter, they are breaking the law.
That's it, and you take a photo of their ID, right? And there is a website you go to report them, right? If of course it's going to depend on how many reports are issued and so on and so forth, but it happens, and it's now that the tourists are coming back. You've just got the mafias out there. They want to have their pound of flesh. And it's going to take 3 months of people doing the right thing and just dropping the details. Don't get offensive, just record it, either a video or a photo. Best if you do a video, you just basically wind down the window, start the video recording. Hello, what the club, can you take me, blah, blah, blah. And he sort of says, I'm sorry. He says, oh, 500 baht, 300 baht. I said, no, we would like to use the meter. Right, he says, no. I said, thank you very much for your time, and on you go. I will be reporting and invest in you, show them the video so they know that they're under. Most of the time that usually gets through the process. They would drop the whole bullshit and let you in the taxi. But this is now, tourists are coming back and they all want their pound of flesh because they're all in debt to their eyeballs from all the loan sharks and shit like that. They've got to try to make a few bucks back, because they're working again. Anyway. Okay, guys, been fun. Yes, had to go. Have a good weekend. Yes, Rob, keep up good spirits. And what else we got? Confused and declared. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll see you again next week. We've got a few videos. I've got videos ready to go. I just haven't put them up on the circuit yet. And we've got a discussion piece that we did from Thursday after we saw Rob. That's going to be a bit of a long one. I've got to cut it down, see if I can get it down to 20 to 25 minutes. We're just talking.
Just get rid of my dribble. You'll be right.
No. a little bit of a sort of a review of a recent video where we're talking about how much does it really cost to live here in Thailand, and what you should be expecting. And so keep an eye out for that one. That should be out by the end of the next week. Anyway, we're out of here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week. Quick. Oh, where's the ending screen? Closing screen. There we go. Have a later, guys. See you later.
I want you to lift me up so high, a place that no